have vague memories of my father taking me to see a show in an outdoor stadium in Lynn, Massachusetts around 1985 that featured some of the Von Erichs, as well as the Fantastics beating the Midnight Express. I wanted to know if Jim had any memories of that show and how he felt invading WWF land for what may have been the first time in his career. I am not certain if Jim visited Massachusetts much back then, but I pray he did not believe the city of Lynn was the best our great state had to offer.
Well, here you go. It was in May, the first week of May. It might have been Derby Day of 1985. No, that would have been Texas Stadium. It was somewhere in the spring. Anyway, I digress. We've gone to Dallas to World Class from Mid-South, and we're working a schedule, and we know that they've got their TV syndicated in other places. And as we used to do weekly promos or local promos every week on Fridays at Channel 39, the studio. As I recall, it was Fridays. Anyway, and, you know, we started doing generic local promos for a couple of markets like Boston, and I'm trying to think what were the others. I think Los Angeles and somewhere else. And I'm like, we're going to be going to all these places. I'm like, fuck, they can barely run fucking, Corsicana, Texas at the auction barn around here is the vibe I'm getting. Anyway, they book a show in Boston because the Boston TV was doing such great ratings. We had a lot of interest, and we started doing the promos for it. And it's going to be an outdoor show. And the place was called the Manning Bowl, which David Manning, the referee, was just thrilled about. And we made jokes about and everything. But the Manning Bowl in Lynn, Massachusetts. And I said, well, because I've never been up in the Northeast in my life at this point, but I've heard of the Boston Garden because it's had wrestling for years. If we're going to Boston, why aren't we going to the Boston Garden? Well, because we can't get in the Boston Garden. Where is this place? Well, it's a suburb of Boston. Okay. So they fly us all up there, and they put us up at a hotel. If I had more time to do a little research, I'd remember exactly but it was a big hotel near the airport, a nice, location. And we're thinking, wow, this is a big deal. They're actually going all out here. And it was me and Bobby and Dennis and Rick Hazard, the referee, and Gary Hart and the one-man gang, I believe, was in our little party. And, we had a meal at the hotel. They had a seafood restaurant there, which I don't know that I had been turned on to the finer points of seafood at that point. I'm like, can you fry this? But anyway, and they get us a bus so we could all get on all the heels. And then as Gino and Chris came in and blah, blah, blah. And we're going to the Manning Bowl. And I'm thinking this is a big first class deal. And I'll never forget, Gino is sitting in the front seat, of course, on the right, on the bus, right behind the driver, but in the very front seat. And we pull up at a red light, and he looks down, and there's this woman and this guy in the car next to it, because from the bus window, you can see right down in their car, right? They have this bag, like a pound of weed in this giant bag in their laps in the front seat. And fucking Gino had some kind of goddamn badge that he could flash from I don't know what it was, and I didn't ask, but he pulls his fucking, Louis Vuitton custom-made wallet out and out the window, flashes that badge, and goes, hey, because their window was down, right? It was warm weather. DEA, and they looked up and shit him, and that shit went up everywhere, and then the light changed, the bus starts pulling off, and those people were sitting there. They didn't move. Anyway, we get to the fucking stadium. This is what I imagine it would look like if they held a wrestling show in an outdoor stadium after the bombing of Afghanistan. I'm not talking about there was people everywhere, and it was chaos because this place was falling apart. It was an old, I don't know, maybe some of our fans up in the Boston area can enlighten us, and we will read your comments in subsequent weeks here on the program about when the Manning Bowl in Lynn, Massachusetts was constructed or what the fuck. But I remember the locker rooms were a mess. When we walked out in the stadium, and bear in mind, I'm not wearing my glasses because I don't wear my glasses to the ring, but it just looked like chaos everywhere. There was like 5,000 or 6,000 people there, I believe, maybe a little bit better. But there was no, it was just, there was people standing everywhere and sitting everywhere. It looked like a goddamn glorified spot show. And they're trying to walk us through a crowd. And I don't know what these people, a lot of them were the Northern fans, and they were just so happy to see us. They were trying to come up and pat us on the back. But we've just come from Louisiana, where we're used to people trying to stab us. So walking through just a crowd of people on the floor of a fucking stadium to the ring was unnerving. And we had the show, and we got out of there, and we flew all the way back to Dallas the next day. And if I could reach my book, I'd tell you how much we got paid, but I guarantee you it wasn't more than $500. So I'm like, we flew 2/3 the way across the fucking country to work a glorified spot show and got paid the same thing that Bill Watts was paying us to work Bogalusa, Louisiana. So that was my...
And that's world class.
And, so that was but I mean, when you think about it, people were starved for wrestling up there, and they got a real good turnout because it was some hard hitting shit. It wasn't, the mid 80s hokey stuff from New York. But it was a low budget proposal. I think they went back after we left. We never went back. I think they went back another time after we left, but they couldn't. You can't run Boston out of fucking Dallas. Once again, when they were struggling at that time to run 5 shows out of the Dallas market, because they wouldn't run Wednesday nights usually for a spot show because it was church night. And they didn't run a lot of Sundays unless we went out to El Paso or to Amarillo and Lubbock. But they're going to run Boston out of fucking Dallas.
It was such a unique thing when people would discover world class before everything blew up in 86. Like John McAdam talks about being in high school and girls who were not wrestling fans becoming world-class fans because of the Von Erichs and Gino.
Well, the same thing happened. As a matter of fact, just being at LexCon in Lexington this past month, and actually I just saw on our Kentucky public television, which I watch so I can be smart, a documentary on Rupp Arena. But in the mid-'70s, when Rupp Arena in Lexington was opened, they designed it specifically to be the biggest basketball arena in the United States because the University of Kentucky, the Wildcats, they were not only were they selling out every home game at their gym that seated 10 or 12,000, but there was like a local group that had banded together of people that were mad because they could never get tickets because it was so oversold they wouldn't even take a waiting list. So they said, we're going to build the biggest basketball arena in the country, and they got some public funding, and they blah, 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 and they put together Lexington Center with the Hyatt Hotel and 23,500 seat basketball arena and a huge convention center and all of this shopping complex. And when that opened up in the mid-'70s, they filled it up for Kentucky basketball, and the Rolling Stones came, and they filled it up, but Lexington was a city of only like 250,000 people at the time. So they've got a 23,000 seat arena. And that's why they were willing to customize and I'm going somewhere with this. They were willing to customize it for smaller events. They hung a curtain down the middle of Rupp Arena and started renting monthly to Jerry Jarrett for wrestling events within the first year or 14 months after they'd opened the arena. And so with the curtain down the middle, then one side, and you didn't have to open the upper bowl. So if you got 5,000 or 6,000 people, it was good downstairs. And if you got more, you had another upper bowl you could open up without having to move the curtain. So it was perfect. The point I'm making is the same thing happened because in Lexington, the business took off pretty much. The first show, they drew 1,500. And the second show, they drew about 1,350. And the third show was 2,600, and the fourth show was 4,100. And by fifth or sixth show in, they had topped 5,000 people. And that's almost unheard of. But what made it was Rupp Arena was new. Everybody wanted to go see what it was like. The University of Kentucky students were now going there because they could actually get into the fucking games. And the girls started seeing, and they saw the advertisements for the wrestling, and the wrestling was on the NBC station at noon on Saturday, and the girls started seeing Jerry Lawler and Bill Dundee and whoever the baby faces were when they opened up, but then the Gibson brothers, and then later on here comes Dutch Mantell, who's over, and then Terry Taylor and Steve Kern and Stan Lane. And for about from 78 when they started until like the mid 80s. So a 6 or 7 year period. Even if the rest of the territory was down and even if Lawler was gone, Lexington stayed more consistent than the rest of the towns because a lot of those girls had never considered watching wrestling. And once they got out of college, they probably quit watching wrestling. But while they were going there, it was cool. And the guys started coming because the girls were there. But Lexington was the only place in the territory. You'd see plenty of girls everywhere because all those baby faces were over. But Lexington was the only place that you'd see the girls in sweaters with fucking diamond necklaces and the cute fashions and everything and pulling out 20s to buy the dollar color pictures. It was a whole different thing. And that's the same thing to the question that they tapped into with the Von Erichs in Dallas and Gino and Chris. And the Fantastics used to have their clothes ripped off of them every time they went to the ring. Those girls weren't watching wrestling 5 years before that. And unfortunately, every good story must come to a tragic end. Once that all the tragedies happened in world class and the people, there was too much publicity. The people found out that all was not as it had been presented to be. Then those people weren't watching wrestling 5 years later.